There's a book by author Joy Dixon. It's called The Divine Feminine, Theosophy and Feminism in England. And she says that theosophy was a major influence on suffragettes in both England and the United States. Helena Blavatsky worked closely with a lot of them. There was a really disproportionately high amount of membership in the Theosophical Society among suffrage activists. And as we already mentioned, a lot of them were anything from snake oil salesmen to faith healers to automatic writers. And some of this was a bit, yes, some of this was a bit of a bid to be able to say things publicly that maybe they wouldn't be able to otherwise, but they also did a lot of things like readings for a lot of the wealthy elites of the time. And this was a way to get funding for suffrage. So a really good example of this would be Victoria Woodhull, who I just mentioned, gave the speech about gender and marriage abolition. She said she was contacted by the spirit of Demosthenes, the Greek orator, who told her to go to Manhattan and find Cornelius Vanderbilt and give him a reading. So she did just that, and they worked together. So that's where a lot of her funding came from. They actually ended up gaming the stock market together. They ripped off the stock market in the first Black Friday crash for $23 million. And the papers went to Vanderbilt and said, "Are you doing some insider trading?" They said, "How could you know? Like, how'd you know this was going to happen? And you made all the right moves to make all this money." And he said, "Do as I do, consult the spirits," right? Well, it turns out that Woodhull had a great friend, Josie Mansfield, who was kind of a madam, and she had a prostitution ring where she had spies that were connected to a lot of Vanderbilt's business rivals and a lot of wealthy stock market guys. And that's where she had gotten these tips from. So some of them were true believers. Some of them used it more as a front to conduct espionage and things like that.
Yeah, and I would say theosophy really, in my view, is that as well. Theosophy functioned as a way for the British power elite to have agents like Blavatsky, who was really, in my view, just an agent of the Milner Fabian elite. She was herself a Fabian socialist. And that was why she had so many contacts in the Soviet Union at that time amongst Bolsheviks, who were also, many of them, into theosophy. You mentioned this character this woman you're talking about. This is very closely parallels one of the other female messiahs of the mid 1800s. The figure, her name is Flora Tristan y Moscoso, and she left her husband and then went to London and became a radical socialist who tied the notion of women's rights to the workers' proletariat rights to, quote, prepare the world for a future utopian civilization. And it says after she visited the famous lunatic asylum of Bedlam, she came away with a sense of her messianic destiny. It was now her job as a feminine messiah to proclaim that all religions and everyone in the world, we are all one. So she has a new universalist monist religious calling to proclaim the future feminine-dominated society. And I bring that up because she wrote a book where, in the fiction story, the feminine messiah meets a billionaire banker and converts him, and they save the world together.